Show you how I edit HDR photographs using Lightroom. It's a two-step process. We're going to do the first step right now. So we're going to import the pictures. We go to Library on the top. Let's get the folder. This folder is from yesterday. And let's see which one we're going to do here. 706. Where's the pictures? Talk to Daddy. That doesn't look like an HDR. It is not. So it is not 76. It is 194. A lot more images. With HDR, we shoot 3 pictures to create one image. An overexposed, underexposed, and a normal exposure. We're going to choose this folder. Make sure there's no duplicates. As you can see, here's the 3, 1, 2, 3. And I set it up like this so that there's 6 all the way across, and it's easier to see if everything looks good. Everything looks good here. These we don't need because I changed my color balance. You see how that's different than that? That looks correct. So make sure there's no doubles. That's kind of a double there. I can always choose the second one when we do doubles. Usually there's a reason why I did the second one. Okay, so far it's looking good. Everything looks good. So we're going to import these. Okay. Import. So, first thing we're going to do is at the first stage, there's 2 steps to this. The first step is just to make sure that the exposure and the color balance is correct. That's it. Exposure and color balance. Okay? So we're going to develop these. We're going to go to the first photo. Now let's look and see what color balance this is. Is this daylight? That's daylight. This was actually a cloudy day. See what happens if we do cloudy. It's a little bit orange. I would say daylight is probably better. So there was a difference. So now if you look on the bottom, all of these were the same color balance, correct? Yes. Let's just say yes. So we're going to select them all. And when you push this sync button, it allows you to change the color balance and changes that you made on all of these. Now I'm just doing the color balance because I know the color balance is wrong. So we're going to make sure color, saturation, vibrance, and color adjustments, all of these things will be changed if it was changed. So now the color balance is all done on those. Normally what I do, now we'll deselect it, Command D, click the first one again. On the first one I normally just, especially the outside ones, just push auto. And then that's enough. We're not worried about the sky right now because this is the sky. This is the under. This should be the darkest picture. So we want the highlights to be down. We want some information up here in the sky. We could have a cloudy day. We can try that. Bring the shadows up. And I mean, that's about as much as you're going to get in there. It's a pretty cloudy day, so we're not going to get much. And then this one looks pretty good. I mean, the graph is, this is the overexposure, so the right side is going to be lighter as opposed to this one, which is dark one. It should be on the other side. And the one in the first one should be right in the middle. That should be perfect, which is pretty close. Look at that brick job. You ever see a brick job like that? So like I said, the first one I just push auto, and the second one I adjust. The dark, so we want to make sure to get rid of that white up there. We don't need that. This one we're going to do the opposite. That looks good. Auto, that's the first one. That's a little bit bright there. Let's bring those highlights down. See that? And then this one, bring it down a little bit. Auto. The next one is under. I don't want anything on the on that side. And then the over, which we can bring it down just a tad. As long as it's not touching this line here, we have all that information, which is from bright to dark without going into the dark. Okay, auto, first one. The next one we're going to, that's pretty good. There's not much we can do with that sky. We're going to have to replace the sky, and that's going to be another tutorial. Let's bring that down just a little bit. Again, auto. Actually, this is inside now. We don't need to do auto. Color balance, looks good. We're not adjusting anything except color balance and density on the first ones. So that looks good. This looks good. We have the information here. That looks a little bright. We can bring that down just a little bit, but we don't want to go past this line. Usually that past that little part right there. So that's good. That looks good. All we want in this one is the detail in the dark shadow areas. Okay. This is the first one, auto. That'll be nice. So now you see we have color balance issue right here at the window. It's a little bit blue. So we'll just take out a little bit, not all of it, just a little bit. Still can leave some blue in there, but we don't want it so harsh. Same thing here. This looks pretty good. We could probably go up just a little bit on the exposure, but not much. And we can get rid of that blue too. Let's get rid of some of that blue. Just a tad. A dab-a-doo-ya. This is way too bright, but you know what? That's what we want. We want the detail in the shadow area is what this picture is going to do for us. This is the normal one. Easily hit auto. Let's get rid of some of this blue in the windows. Next one is the dark one. So we're looking for detail in the light sections, the window. Let's get some blue out and let's get the highlights down. There we go. And the next one is the opposite. We want detail in the shadow areas. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, same thing, auto. Next one, let's take some blue out of that window. And we're going to bring it up a little bit. Look at all that empty space there. We can bring this exposure up just a little bit without compromising our detail in the highlights. This is detail in the shadows. So we still got a lot of room here for the shadows as well. So let's bring that down. See that? We still have detail. Maybe get rid of some blue. You're not going to see those tinge too much. Here we go. Color balance. That one looks good. Doesn't that look good? It's a good exposure. We do have some blue. You see the blue up here in the ceiling on the fan blades and right here. That's all reflection from outside. That's daylight. And my color balance is set on tungsten, which is orange. That's why it looks blue. I don't want to get too technical on you, but that's why. Let's get rid of some of that blue there. And let's fill that in there. Okay. Let's get rid of some blue. Let's get rid of some blue. That looks pretty good. A little bit high on the spike. That's from these lights here. Now watch when I change that. Watch the detail in these lights pop out. You see we got that. See that? That's what we want. We want detail in these lights. That's what the dark one. The dark picture is to bring detail in the light sections. And that's pretty good right there. We can still take some blue out. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Now we want detail in the dark parts. There are no real dark parts in this section. We can bring this exposure down a little bit. All right, let's go to this one. This is the average one. It looks pretty good. A little bit blue. It's got some blue in it. We're just going to take some blue out. Not too much. You have to take too much out. Sometimes it's better to add yellow. There, let's get that blue there. Take that out. We got good detail. Now in the shadow area, we have good detail in the shadow area. That's what we want. Don't worry about that. The dark one's going to fill that in. Let's get some blue out of there. And that looks great just like it is. I might give it a little bit more exposure instead of hitting auto. Let's get that highlight down so it's not on the edge and the shadows. There we go. Look at that. Bring that up, not too much there. Let's get rid of that. That's the dark one with detail here. Like, see these lights right here? That's right there. Okay, we got the highlights down. We can bring it down a little bit. See, oh yeah, we're getting some detail there. You can also do this if you want to just highlight that one area and do the highlights. It's already down. Let's try it again. Okay. And now the highlights. The shadow area is what we're looking for in this one. We got enough room there. We can bump the exposure down just a tad. Okay, still see that blue on that side. Now watch what happens if I just add this little thing here. It is feathered quite a bit, so you can make it bigger than it needs to be. Double click that effect so it goes back to 0. And all we're going to do is add a little bit of yellow. See how it changed it without going gray? That's just to give you an idea how to use that little circle tool. All right, let's go. Rock and roll. All right, now we're going to take some blue out of this one. That looks pretty good. We can give it a little bit more exposure. We got some latitude there. See that little spike? That's that white part right here, those little slits. Okay, we can bring this down just a little bit so it just barely touches right there. That looks good. All right, these are all, the color balance is looking really good on these. I do my best to get it perfect in camera, but the reason that you do this is in case I don't get it perfect, then you can tweak it and we look perfect. These are just a normal, this is the normal one. This is the dark one, which we got detail in the highlights. See that spike there? We want to get rid of that spike. That spike is right here. So we're going to go to highlights, bring that highlight down. You see the detail come in there? That's good, that's good, that's good. So we're going to do that. So don't worry about this too much. We want to worry about that. You could actually do a little bit of cheating here like this, and then just double click and bring those highlights in just a little bit. Okay, I mean, that's the best we're going to get out of there. There's no information, there's no information. It goes from 0 to 255. If it's past 255, that means you have no information. Okay, here's the light one with the detail in the shadows. That looks pretty good. We got a little bit of latitude there. Let's bring it down just a tad. There we go. Don't worry about turning these at this point. That's just, that one looks good. It's perfect. This one, I'm bring those highlights down. You see that detail come in right there? And exposure down a little bit. That's not bad. I mean, it could be better, but all right. And we're gonna bring this. That looks good. All right, normal one. Just hit auto. See how it looks. So I bring some blue out of that one. All we're doing is color and exposures, making sure that we got all the exposures that we need. The detail in those highlights right now. Look at that. The windows. The lights are looking good, the windows are looking good. And this one is going to be the shadow detail. So we're going to try to get detail in these shadows here. And we got quite a bit of latitude there. We don't want to go too far dark. That looks good. Okay, back to this one, a normal. Okay, so this next one we're going to do for the lights and the lights in the window detail. We got some pretty good detail there. Sometimes on these lights, you can do the dehaze. If they're a little bit cloudy, just a little bit of dehaze will help that out. Let's take some blue out for sure. Not too much, just a little bit. So we dehaze these and made these look a little better. The next one is shadow detail for the fireplace. You see that fireplace, how dark it is? Now we have detail in the fireplace. We don't want to do too much. I mean, that's right to the edge here. Let's just leave it like that. Okay, here we go with the normal shot. Like I said, normal I'll use, but auto just so it'll be an average. It's a good average shot. It's not bad at all. This one's the dark one. We want detail in the lights, so let's bring it up just a little bit. Got some detail there. That's not bad. And this is the opposite. Oh yeah, we don't need to do anything. All right, this is normal. So we'll do automatic. Looks good. Detail in in the highlights. That looks good. Let's take some blue out in that window in the middle. There we go. And then we have the shadow detail. We can come down on that exposure just a little bit. There you go. Get a little bit closer. 0. We haven't had to do too much color balance stuff here. If you did, you just use the eyedropper and click on something white or adjust it manually using these 2 sliders. I think this looks pretty darn good right here. Okay, we're going to do the windows here. Let's see there. Take some of that blue out. We want detail in the highlights, which looks all very good. Just bring it down just a little bit. Now we're looking for the shadow detail. You see the shadow detail? We can bring that down a little bit more. Looks good. All right. Auto on the normal one. We're going to go to the highlight one. Take out some blue. Excuse me. And this is the shadow detail. Let's see. So for this, we're going to bring those highlights down a little bit, exposure down just a little bit. There we go. Detail in the shadows. You see that detail? Okay, just take out a little bit of blue on this one. And then that's it. I mean, that looks pretty darn good if you ask me. Put auto, see what it does. Oh, it doesn't fix it too much. We can bring those highlights. We already brought the highlights down. Okay. This one we need to bring up just a little bit and get those highlights down. See that? Check the blue. Man, it's looking good. Bring it down a little bit. Oh no, that's the normal. Underdog. Bring it up. Bring it down. Bring it down. Get rid of some of that blue there on that side. There we go. I think that looks pretty darn good. Ooh, this has got a lot of blue in the foreground. And this is where you have a window over here. It's pushing out daylight onto this wall. And we have tungsten light in the kitchen. So how do you fix that? This is where that little ball comes in. Look at this. Make a big ball. Okay. Double click that effect and add some yellow. Just add yellow as the opposite of blue. You see how that kind of blends in? It turns more gray. Okay, there we go. It's gray. Let's try one more. See this area right here? Let's just see how that one looks. Oops. I mean, that looks better. These are still going to merge together, so you do a little bit on this one, a little bit on that one, a little bit on the other one. Doesn't have to be exact. You combine all 3 together, it looks good. Okay, in order to continue, we have to click that. Let's get that blue out of there. Same thing. Add some yellow, not too much. Double click, add some yellow. Unclick, click, click these. Here we go. All right, let's make some yellow on this one. Yeah, thanks for dad to do ya. We need to worry about the other one, to be honest. All right, close up of the sink. I think that looks great. Nothing wrong with that. This one we bring up just a little bit. I wouldn't do too much, to be honest. That window looks good. Maybe turn that window neutral. Oops, I forgot that I was editing something else. I was editing this little ball here. Right now we're up to the real thing. So exposure, bring it up just a dab-a-doo. Here we go. Next. Highlights, we got some detail there. That's good enough right there. Ooh, look at that blue. See the dining room is blue. Let's bring some exposure up there. Get rid of some blue. That looks pretty neutral, doesn't it? There, it worked on that case, but it doesn't always work. When there's just a little bit of blue, it'll work. If there's a lot, then you need to add that yellow. Like this. I'm not sure how this one's going to be. Let's see here. Let's delete some blue. There we go. That's neutral. That's perfect. I mean, believe it or not. It's because we got all that dark black in there. Ooh, this is real blue. This is where we're going to have to do color balance on the ceiling. We know. See, there you go. Instant. Then push auto. So color balance. Ceiling. I know it's a white ceiling. You know when you see blue out the window and blue on the ceiling, it's a white ceiling. Okay, that looks a little bit yellow, but we're going to go for it. Okay. We got a little bit yellow in there. You notice that? You can just put this thing in and do the opposite of what we were doing before. Remember? We add the yellow to the blue. Now we're going to add blue to the yellow. Neutralize it. You see that? How it's neutralized it? What about there? So you just neutralize the color. We're using the opposite color. If it's green, you use magenta. Okay, this is the dark one. That looks pretty good. We got a lot of blue in this one. Let's take some blue out of this one. Make sure we got some detail in the shadow. We do. These little spots right here, that's that little spike right there. It's not much. So, and again, get the blue out of this one. Mama mia, that looks good. Take the yellow down a little, just a dab. Okay, now we have just blue in the center. You see that? So color balance on the ceiling, but way over here, we don't want to get too close to that blue because all of this stuff is going to look normal. Now if we take this blue area, put this guy in the middle. Okay, let's add some yellow. Not too much, you can see. If you can tell, you can see the edit. You've edited it too much. Okay, that looks good. The dark one, this is the window shot. Let's get rid of some of that blue and the saturation. Boom, bah. And here's the bright one. Boom, bah. Everything else looks great. Okay, same thing. Make sure the histogram is good. Color balance first. Okay, and we got that blue in there. This is just a tab of blue, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. If it was a lot, I would use that circle tool. Here we go, rock and roll, baby. Okay, we're pretty close there. Come down about there. Still get rid of some of that blue. All right, now we're to the outside. The outsides are a lot easier. We are going to have to put some blue skies in here, but that's for another tutorial. So what I'm going to do here is we're just going to push auto, auto, auto. Bang, bang. Sometimes you got to push it twice. Bang. See the difference that makes right there for that one? So what we're essentially doing is we're making three that are supposedly perfect. One has more detail in the shadow, one has more detail in the highlights, and the normal one, I don't know what kind of detail it's got. That looked pretty good. Push auto, flare, flare. Okay, so once we finish this, we're going to get ready for stage 2. Stage 2 is a kind of complicated section, but if you can figure this out, you're halfway there, right? Uh-oh, we got two of the same. Oh, no, we got two different porches. Look at that. This is the other bad porch. Man. All right, that's it, rock and roll. So what we need to do now at this point is we need to take the 3 exposures that were taken and merge them together somehow. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all, Command A, select all the ones on the bottom, right click, and you're going to go to stacking. Stacking, auto stack by capture time. So what I'm going to do here is I've got 3 seconds. So you can see all the 3s here. They all go together. That means these pictures were taking 3 seconds or less apart from each other. So these go together, then 3 seconds later or more, I took these 3, and 3 seconds later or more, I took these 3. So we're going to stack them. So now we have all the pictures stacked that we just corrected. And this is where you're going to go into File, plug in extras, and this is where the LR Infuse lives. So we're going to go to LR Infuse, blend exposures using LR Infuse, batch mode, of course, create blended images in the same folder, or we're going to do the destination folder. So what folder was that? Well, you're going to choose it. Is that it? I think that's it. Let's see here. That is it. So put it inside, and always call your folders that you use the same number. So 189, 194. And I just put HDR at the end of it, so I know that that's been processed. That's the HDR file from that job. Push select. Okay. It's just going to put the name and then HDR here. Quality 100. That's it. Infuse images. Now it's going to infuse. This will take quite a while. It's not the fastest process. There are programs out there that'll do it faster. Unfortunately, they're not as consistent or as good as this. It's going to take a long time, but it's worth it. You can always check your progress as well at this stage by going into Bridge, checking the house. Where's that folder? There it is. And then you can see it as it's been done. You can see not even one has been done yet. So stay tuned for part 2 of the HDR process.